Madam, you start your lecture at 8 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello.
Start.
Okay. Good morning, students. Well, good morning, students. Welcome to all of you. Today's state level online lecture. I Miss Arundhati Patil from Gumfa Road English Secondary Municipal School, Jogeshwari. Today, in our English grammar lecture, we are going to learn the new topic about modal auxiliaries or modal verbs. So, in this topic, first we will understand what they are, and then we will look into examples, and finally, exercise for practice. So, let's start with our topic. See, so today's topic is modal auxiliaries. First, we are going to see what is a modal verb or modal auxiliaries. So, see the points we will discuss over here. What is meant by modal auxiliaries? See, first one. The first point is, see, modal auxiliaries are used to indicate mood. Second point, they indicate speakers or writer's attitude in what he says or write. Third, they are used as helping verbs with another verb to change its meaning. Fourth, they cannot stand alone. Fifth, they come with main verb. And next, there are 13 modal auxiliaries today we are going to learn. So what we have seen, that what is a modal verb or auxiliaries? That is, modal auxiliaries are used to indicate mood. They indicate speakers or writer's attitude in what he says or writes. They are used as helping verbs with another verb to change its meaning. They cannot stand alone and they come with main verb. See the next slide. There are total 13 modal auxiliaries are there. They are, first one is can, could, may, might, must, shall, will, you, would, used to, then should, ought to, need, and dare. There are total how many modal auxiliaries? 13 modal auxiliaries are there. Okay, first one is can, second one is could, may, might, must, shall or will, would, used to, should, ought to, need, and dare. Okay, Now, each of the modal auxiliaries we are going to see. Before that, we are going to see one table. See, modal auxiliaries expresses meaning such as, okay, first we are going to see modal auxiliary expresses meaning such as, first one is modal auxiliaries, and second B part is indication or function or attitude. Huh? First modal auxiliary can and could function as a ability. Huh? May function as or indicate as possibility and permission. Might, less possibility. Must and ought to, compulsion and obligation. Shall or will, certainty. Should, advice and suggestion. Would and used to, habitual action in the past. Need, necessity, and dare, courage. So these are the modal auxiliaries which express meanings, which indicates, which functions. So each of them we are going to learn with the help of examples. So see, the first modal auxiliary we are going to learn is about can and could. It functions as a ability. So see, let's learn each of the function in detail. We use can and could to talk about a skill or ability. Huh? So first, can shows the ability in the present, and could shows the ability in the past. Now could is the past tense of can. Which are the 2 points you have to remember? That is, uh, can shows the ability in the present, and could shows the ability in the past. For example, see, can ability in the present. See, I can ride a horse. Now here can shows the present ability. Which present ability the can shows here? That I can ride a horse. Okay. Now, what does could shows here? Could shows the past ability. Like, see, I could ride a horse when I was younger. Huh? What the your sentence is telling, that I could ride a horse when I was younger. Now it is not possible to me to ride. When I was younger, I could ride a horse. So could shows the past ability. Okay. Second example we will see. Again, the can shows here the present ability. I can play piano. At present, I can play the piano. But what the past ability shows, what the could show the past ability, that I could play the piano when I was younger. Now I became old. I cannot play now. So when I was young, I could play the piano. So this is the first modal auxiliary we have seen about can and could, which talks about a skill or ability. Okay, let's move towards the next modal auxiliary. Next modal auxiliary is may or might. May and might. Next one is may and might, and it talks about it functions as a possibility. It expresses meaning as a possibility. Now, may is more likely possible, and might is less likely possible. How it is, that we'll see through example. The first example, see, it may rain today. Okay, it is more likely possible. Now here 70% chances are there that it may rain today. Okay, so when we are using may, when there is more likely possibility is there, we use the modal auxiliary as may. Okay, second, now see, when we use might, We use might when there is less percent possibility is there. Okay. For example, see, it. Okay. Now here 40%, 30 to 40% possibility is there that rain will come today, but it is not possible. So there is less possibility is there. So when there is less possibility, we use might, and when there is more possibility, we use may. Let's see the second example. He said, I may stand for election. Now here again more possibility is there that a person is going to stand for election. 70 to 80% he has decided to stand for election. So here we wants to use the auxiliary, the modal auxiliary may. He said, I may stand for election. Now here less possibility is there. Now the person still has not decided to stand for election. So here he has used the modal auxiliary might. He said that he might stand for election. Okay, so might is the past tense of may. So when we are using may in possibility, may where there is like more possibilities there, we use may, and when there is less possibilities there, we use might. Now might is the past form of may. So if we are talking in past, then use might. If we are talking in past tense, we are talking in past, then use might. Okay. So the next slide, and remember that we cannot use as we are talking about past possibility. Huh? Suppose I thought I might go to the gym. Okay, so remember that may is used for the more possibility and might is used for the less possibility. Let's see the may or might usage in permission. When we want some permission, at that time where we are to use may and might. Now see, may and might is possible is permission. Now see, first one is may is more formal polite and might is more casual, that is less polite. When we are using may in the during permission, when we want to ask permission, when we want to give permission, so permission is used, the function permission may is used when there is more formal polite, and the might is used when there is more casual, that is less polite. For example, see, first, may I leave class early? Okay. Now here I want to ask for permission. Now see, more formal, polite it is. To ask for permission, we use may. For example, see, may I leave class early? Second example, may I borrow the car tomorrow? Here the person is asking permission by using the modal auxiliary may. By using the modal auxiliary may. So when we are using may, when we are asking for permission, use the modal auxiliary may. Now see the next, might, when we are using. Okay, see, first we are complete about may only. See, may, first we have seen may I leave class early. Second, may I borrow the car tomorrow. Here we are asking for permission. Now we will see the use of may to give permission. You may go now. To give permission also we use the modal auxiliary may. So you may go now. You may come at 11 if you wish. So here again may is used to give permission. You may come at 11 if you wish. Third type of may is used is also used to express a wish. Understood? Now here may is also used to express a wish. For example, see, may you have a prosperous new year. May you both be very happy. So in three types we use may. First, here in the first example, we used may, the modal auxiliary may, to give to ask for permission. Second, here we have used to give permission, and here may is used to express a wish. So may is used more formal, polite. May functions as a permission for more formal, polite. Second, we are going to see when we are using might. The might is more casual or less polite. For example, see, it looks nice, but it might be very expensive. Huh? It looks nice, but it might be very expensive. Now the thing is very nice, but the person doesn't want to buy now. Huh? There is less polite is there. He is not. He don't want to buy that thing because it is very expensive. Second example, see, he asked if he might borrow the car. Huh? He asked if he might borrow the car. Third, might we ask you a question? Okay. So see, here we have seen that how to use the modal auxiliary may and might. What we have seen in the first slide, that may and might is used in the when it indicates possibility, when it functions as possibility, the may is more likely possible and might is less likely possible. And when we have permission, to give permission, to ask permission, to express a wish, we use may. And when there is less polite, more casual, we use the modal auxiliary might. Let's see the next modal auxiliary, will and would. When we are using will and would, okay. Now see, will and would is used in four different ways. Okay. For example, see, first one is futurity, then request and offers, then habits and conditionals. Will and would is used in four different ways. First one is futurity. When we are talking about any future, we use will. When you are requesting, you are offering, we use will and would. Uh, when we are have any, we are talking about any habit, we use will. Any condition is there, we are using will. Just let's see by the examples. Now, see, first example is I will come for dinner. What is the first example over here? That I will see, I will come for dinner. Now, this event is there in future tense. That I will for dinner. In future, he is going to come for dinner. So, which modal auxiliary is used here? Will is used. So when you are talking any event in future, use the modal auxiliary will. Okay. Second example. See, second example. Will you pass me the salt? Will you pass me the salt? Now here the person is requesting. When you are requesting, use the modal auxiliary will. Will you pass me the salt? The salt is the family is sitting for dinner, and the person wants the salt, and salt he can't take. It is far away from him. So he requesting to other person that will you pass me the salt? So when we are requesting, use the modal auxiliary will. Third example. See, Will you come to the dance with me? Now here the sentence is the offering to someone for dancing. Now the person is offering to other person to dance with him. So when you are offering someone anything, use the modal auxiliary will. So what is used here? Huh? Will you come to the dance with me? Okay. So here it is a offering. Fourth example, see, a friend will always help you. Now here the modal auxiliary will is used in which case habit. That one friend is there who always help him. Huh? So a friend will always help you. Here the will is used in the habit. Huh? Fifth example, see. Fifth example, see. If I have enough money, I will go to Japan. Now here one condition is there. If I enough money, I will go to Japan. His condition is there to go to Japan, and he have that much money. So he is telling that if I have enough money, I will go to Japan. Okay. So where we have to use the modal auxiliary will in case of futurity, when we are talking about any future, hmm, when you are requesting, when you are offering something, about habit, when you're talking about any person's habit, any condition, use the modal auxiliary will. Now let's see when we will use would. Let's see when we will use would. The would is the past form of will. First example, see. Okay. Now see, now would, first example, see, I would very much like to come for dinner, but I have other plans this evening. Okay. Now, see, where you wish something to be the case, but in the current situation, it is not going to happen. Use the modal auxiliary would. What I have told, when you wish something to do, when you want something to do, but in the current situation, it is not going to happen. Use the modal auxiliary would. Which modal auxiliary you have to use? Use the modal auxiliary would. Okay. First example, see what it is. I would very much like to come for dinner. The person wants to go for dinner, but at the current situation he is not possible to go for dinner because he had some other plans that evening, this evening. Okay. So at that time, use the modal auxiliary would. Second example, would you please not smoke here? When you are requesting someone again, use the modal auxiliary would you please not smoke here? Third, when you're offering, would you like to go to the cinema? When you're talking about any past habit, see the example. When you're talking about any past habit, on Sundays, my parents would take me to dance school. It's for the past habit. Now his parents are not taking him to the dance school. But in the past, during the Sunday time, his parents were taking to the dance school. So on Sundays, my parents would take me to the dance school. So when you are talking about any past habit, use the modal auxiliary would. Next example, fifth example. If I had enough money, I would go to Japan. Now, this see when you are talking about any imaginary situation, any imagination about any imagination you are talking, use the modal auxiliary would. That if I had enough money, I would go to Japan. So, understood, students, when we have to use the will and when we have to use the would. Now, let's discuss with the next modal. auxiliary. The next modal auxiliary is shall and should. Okay. Now see shall and should. We will discuss first about the shall. That when we are using shall, the shall is using the futurity, command, promise, obligation, offer, advice, or suggestion. When we are using shall we are using different ways for futurity, command, promise, obligation, offer, advice, or suggestion. Now let's discuss with the examples. Now see, first example is the first example. See, I shall get a first class in the exam. Now here the sentence is about the future. The thing which will happen in the future. Huh? So I shall get a first class in the exam. Now see, you will get confused that will is also used in the future and shall is also used in the future. So see, when any event is there in future, shall is used as for first person pronoun and will is used for second and third person pronoun. Huh? Now I is the first person pronoun. He, she, that they are the second and third person pronoun. So remember it. Shall is used during first person pronoun and will is used during second and third person pronoun. The first example, see, I shall get a first class in the exam. Now, this thing is going to happen in the future. The person has decided, I have decided that in future I will get a first class. So at that time, I will use the modal auxiliary shall. Second example, see, students shall remain silent throughout the exam. Now here command is given. Here the sentence which type about command is there. So at that time we have to use the modal auxiliary shall. Students shall remain silent throughout the exam. Third example, see, we shall leave for Mumbai tomorrow. Now here promise is given. So the other person is giving promise to the another person that yes, we shall leave for Mumbai tomorrow. We will go Mumbai tomorrow. So your promise is given in this sentence. So at that time we have to use the modal auxiliary shall, that we shall leave for Mumbai tomorrow. Understood? Next one is example is see, the student shall pay the fees. Now here the sentence shall is used in obligation. Here the modal auxiliary shall is used in obligation, that the student shall pay the fees. Next, shall is used. Shall I make you a coffee? Here the offer is there. The other person is offering to someone that shall I make you a coffee? So when we are offering, use the modal auxiliary shall. When we want to give any advice or suggestion, use that shall I call again on Thursday. Now, and when we are using any advice or suggestion, use the shall, that shall I call again on Thursday. Okay. Now shall is used in a future tense, command, promise, obligation, offer, advice, or suggestion. Now when we are using should, now let's we discuss about should. See, should is used in the, now first of all, should is the past form of shall. It is used in the belief, when we have any belief, obligation, probability, advice, or suggestion. We use the modal auxiliary shall. For example, see first example, I expected that I should get a first class in the exam. Now here belief is there. I believe on myself that I expected that I should get a first class in the exam. So when you are believing something on yourself, use the modal auxiliary should. Second, it should rain. They will not come. Sorry, the first modal auxiliary should we have used. The first example is the sentence of the past form that I expected that I should get a first class in the exam. Now here should is used in the past form. Okay. And second example which we are going to see, it is for the belief. That believe. If it should rain, they will not come. I think so. That if it should rain, they will not come. Third example, you should be wearing your seat belt. Now this example come under which functions? Obligation. That you should be wearing your seat belt. Fourth example, let's call Mary. She should have finished work by now. It is a probability that let's call Mary. She should have finished work by now. And fifth example, John should get a haircut. Here it is the suggestion. So here we have completed with the modal auxiliaries shall and should. When we are using shall at the time of futurity, command, promise, obligation, offer, advice or suggestion. Where we are using the modal auxiliary should when it indicates past form, belief, obligation, probability, advice or suggestion. Let's discuss with the next modal auxiliary. Next modal auxiliary is must or ought to. See, must or ought to. Now must, the modal auxiliary must is used when it functions as obligation, necessity and certainty. When we are using the modal auxiliary must, when it functions, when it indicates as obligation, necessity and certainty. First example, see, I must talk to you about the new project. Now here we are used here modal auxiliary must. We have used here modal auxiliary must. See, see a must when we are talking any obligation, when it functions as obligation or necessity that I must talk to you about the new project. Second example, I must study next week. Okay. Here again the example of necessity that I must study next week. Third example, you must be joking. Now here the example is about certainty that I am certain that you are joking. Okay. So we are using the modal auxiliary must when it functions as a necessity, obligation or certainty. Next is the modal auxiliary we are going to see, that is ought to. Ought to. First example, see, you ought to finish your homework before you watch TV. Now, ought to is used in obligation and compulsion. So, what is the first example? Here it is. You ought to finish your homework before you watch TV. So, here the sentence indicates as a obligation. Second, he must pay the fine. Second example is he must pay the fine or he ought to pay the fine. So he ought to pay the fine. It used when it functions as a compulsion. So here we have completed the modal auxiliary must and ought to. So here we have completed with all the modal auxiliaries. let's revise which modal auxiliaries we have seen here. First, we have seen that what is meant by modal auxiliaries. That modal auxiliaries are used to indicate mood. They indicate speaker's or writer's attitude in what he says or writes. They are used as helping verbs with another word to change its meaning. They cannot stand alone and they come with main verb. Then there are total 13 modal auxiliaries are there. They are can, could, may, might, must, shall, will, would, used to, should, ought to, need, and dare. Then it expresses meanings. It indicates function. Can and could as ability, may possibility and permission, might less possibility, must and ought to compulsion and obligation, shall or will certainty, should advise and suggestion, would and used to habitual action in the past, need necessity, and dare courage. Then we have seen can and could is used when the can show the ability in the past, can show the ability in the present, and could shows the ability in the past. We have discussed with the examples. May and might is used when it functions as a possibility and permission. May is used in when it is more likely possible, and might is used when it is less likely possible. So may might expresses when it is possible, expresses a wish and permission. Then will and would is used when it in the form of futurity, requests, offers, habits, and conditions. Shall and should is used. A shall is used in the form of futurity, command, promise, obligation, offer, advice, or suggestion. Then should is the past form of shall. It is used when we believe something, obligation, probability, advice, or suggestion. And must is used when it functions as a necessity, obligation, and certainty. And ought to is used is when it is in obligation and compulsion. Now let's discuss with the example. See, first example is my grandmother is 85, but she dash still read and write without glasses. See here the first example. The first example, my grandmother is 85, but she, which model auxiliary come here? That she can still read and write without glasses. Second example, see, dash you help me with the housework, please. Dash you help me with the housework, please. Here model auxiliary what will come? Could you help me with the housework, please? Third is we dash not make the first move. Which model auxiliary will come over here? We must not make the first move. Next example, see, it is snowing outside, so I dash stay at home. So here model auxiliary will come will. It is snowing outside, so I will stay at home. Fifth one, dash you mind if I borrow the car? Here model auxiliary what will come? Would you mind if I borrow the car? Sixth one, our country dash become a superpower by 2025. So our country may become a superpower by 2025. And last example, she dash sell her home because she needs money. She might sell her home because she needs money. The students, here we have completed with our topic modal auxiliaries. Thank you, students.
Yes, teacher. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
सो स्टूडेंट्स हम यहाँ पे एक छोटा सा ब्रेक ले रहे हैं, नेक्स्ट लेक्चर स्टार्ट करते हैं। थैंक यू।